the reason people stop doing the movement, the momentum, right? Like the momentum of going forward is because you're growing, you've got to say goodbye to things that maybe necessarily you didn't think you were going to need to say goodbye to. That's relationships, friendships that maybe aren't going in that direction, old stuff that you don't want to get rid of yet, like all the things. So I find it interesting that people think that it doesn't reside in the same space, like wanting to feel safe and also wanting to grow at the same time, like holding on but letting go.
I was waiting for it.
Of course. It's like a funky little riff. Welcome to My So-Called Healing.
Welcome.
Your host, Brooke, and this is
Anna.
And we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the show for people who are healing and living life on life's terms, man.
Pretty much.
Healing the generational trauma,
All
breaking free of all the curses, living life. But if you want to get more of us, we're going to get more active in it, I promise. I don't think either of us have really known what to do, so we were kind of unexpected because I threw a curveball. But go ahead and head to Facebook and join the Facebook group, the My So-Called Healing Community. And we are going to be starting to post a whole lot in there. Anna took some video footage of herself driving with her elf today. And
Not my elf. His name is Walter.
and we're just going to get more like genuine footage of us for you guys to like get to know us a little bit better and then be able to kick off our community and connect with other women who are going through exactly what you are or have been where you are and are going through something new or have never even really thought of healing trauma, and this is all a new topic to them, but vulnerable space.
Yes.
That's a safe space because it's a private group.
Yes.
So we'll link that in the show notes, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, well, welcome to today's show. We're going to talk about just my so-called healing, basically. Anna's like, what even is that?
I mean, like, obviously I know what it is.
I was like, like our show, like our...
I just was expecting for, like, a little more specifics.
Well, I think because it's interesting, I want to punch my head. I can't stop. Jake. I'm obsessed with the Idaho 4 murder trials, so I'm, like, literally coming off of a knee-deep dive on Twitter and Reddit into recording, and I can't stop.
She literally can't stop thinking about it.
Anyways, you shared, I shared. I thought it was you, it was me. But there will be part of you that's pulling towards growth and part of you that pulls you in the other direction, towards safety. On or both sides, they are both seeking to be seen and heard. Now, the reason I said we'll talk about my so-called healing is because this is a very prime example of what I think the healing journey looks like.
Yeah, I agree.
And a lot of people on Instagram agree because they're liking it and saving it and all kinds of stuff. So I think that it's people seem to think, don't you think that people seem to think if you're healing, you're not allowed to stay like or have any connection. You're supposed to have no connection, like no feeling, numbness, whatever, to like whatever it is that you're working towards growth from. And that's like literally just not the way that it works.
Well, yeah, I think people have a ton of misconceptions about healing. Like that, I mean, there's people thinking that like it's like there's check boxes, right? Like, okay, I checked this, now on to the next step or the next phase of healing, but that's not the case at all. It's not linear. It's all over the fucking place.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is all over the place. I apologize. My cat is trying to kill my fish. And I'm also spastic all over the place because the sirens are going off. But I can see the flowers that somebody was very special. Look, those are the flowers I got the other day. And I'm very excited about them because they're from an anonymous sender.
She has a secret admirer.
Who knows how stressed I've been so this is our last day recording for YouTube, people. This will be the last time you see this space ever looking in the way that it looks now because new furniture and new paint, and we're doing We're starting our whole home remodel of our house Monday. So I'm going to be living in a basement apartment, so you can expect every trigger I've ever had and everything I've ever worked to move away from to pop right back up and be real present for a real long time. But yeah, those are my pretty flowers. So I wanted them in the background, and I wanted to give a shout out to my secret admirer, whoever you may be. Love, love, love you. That's what they put on the card. So my husband's not. He's like, who sent these to you? He's like, seriously, who sent them? I'm like, I honestly don't know.
There's no name on the card.
There is no name on the card. I'm like, I don't know. He's naming up like the bus stop dad. I'm like, no, they did not. He did not send me flowers.
I think
that would be weird.
Somebody's feeling a little jealous.
Yeah, well, I got to keep things interesting. So whoever sent me the flowers, thanks. You're keeping my marriage,
keeping the spice in the marriage.
But yeah, I think that that is a perfect segue into the healing part, because I've been very worried, and I actually have had so many old character defects. I call them that because I started my journey in the 12 Steps program, so I'm very can navigate myself through that, and I feel like every human being on the planet should work the 12 Steps, because it just makes it cut and dry on how you move through things. But they're all going to be creeping up, and I can feel them creeping up. And my anxiety is, I think, probably 50% higher right now, just because of unknown. I do not like being in a situation where I am not in control, which is a known fact for me. Nothing new. I'm not
it's not like
psyched out about it. I'm not like, oh my God, I thought I got rid of this. No, because why? Healing is not linear, and just because you have made it so that you're not hurting and holding yourself back from something does not mean that behaviors that stem from
trauma or
whatever whatever happened or whatever you were working towards breaking free from don't pop up again, because that's just human behavior.
Yeah.
So controlling Carla is outraging in full effect, but also going to procrastinate until the very last second to do anything, because I'm just going to pretend it's not happening.
Good old avoidance and self-sabotage.
Yep, shutting down a little bit of mine.
Gotta love the coping mechanisms that we create over the years.
Yeah. It's funny that people are so afraid to look at the I don't want to say negative, because here it is not my favorite part of myself, but it is a part of who I am. So,
well, I think it's because if you look at it, you're acknowledging it exists, and you have to take responsibility for it.
Well, true.
So, again, avoidance. If you don't look at it, it doesn't exist. You don't have to take responsibility, and you can keep riding the victim train.
Well, yeah, or just live in a world of non-reality.
Sometimes doesn't sound all that bad, non-reality.
Living on the denial train, I'll take it.
Yes.
No, I think that I find it so interesting that so many people gravitated towards this post, because I don't know why people think that growth means that you can't still have the desire to feel safe. Because I'll tell you, when you're growing, it hurts. Mm-hmm. When you are growing, when you're evolving as a person, personal development, whatever you're doing, self-help, people call it, when you are having a growth period, the thing that hits the hardest for me that I've always noticed that I don't think that I thought about much before, the reason people stop doing the movement, the momentum, right? Momentum of going forward is because you're growing, you've got to say goodbye to things that maybe necessarily you didn't think you were going to need to say goodbye to. That's relationships, friendships that maybe aren't going in that direction, old stuff that you don't want to get rid of yet. All the things. So I find it interesting that people think that it doesn't reside in the same space, wanting to feel safe and also wanting to grow at the same time, holding on but letting go. I feel like it's a simultaneous situation in every endeavor I take to try and not be crazy.
Well, I think it's also in part like the comfort zone, right? Like you want to grow, but obviously you are still kind of holding on to your comfort zone.
I don't think it's comfort zone with pain, though.
I mean, I guess, again, more so in the, like, your coping skills type of thing.
Yeah. Well, here, habit change is hard, bro. It's literally why there's an entire field out of what I do, because changing habits is so hard. And if I hear people talk about the 90 days to change a habit, no, like literally no. It's consistency for a very long time, and it's more than 90 days. It's dedicating yourself to something forever and making sure that you stick to it forever. Like, that's how it goes.
I just heard, what was it, Sandlot? Forever. Mm-hmm. That's what it's going in my head now.
I think it's healing in it of itself is not always a growth thing, by the way. Mm-hmm. You could just be mending something that has been a gaping hole inside of you, but it doesn't cause growth or this like exponential, leaping into a new universe or stratosphere. You just genuinely aren't hurting anymore. And when I was a kid, you know, my mom used to say, but I mean, lots of people say it, but when I obviously correlate it with my mom from being a teenager, but like the opposite of like hate and pain is not, you know, being, what is it? It's being indifferent. Yeah. It's not feeling anything, right? But I think that there's this misconception about even indifference, like, oh, well then you obviously, it's not healing. You just are indifferent to it. You're avoiding. Mm-hmm. But that's not it either. It really is like a void of, yeah, that happened, and yep, that's the way it is. But I feel good about where I'm at today, and I forgive, you know, like how people forgive people that have done horrible things to them, and people are like, how could you ever forgive someone who murdered your mom or whatever? But it's like they work so hard on the healing that it's like able to have some empathy for the other party or whatever.
Well, yeah, it's acceptance, I think, first and foremost, of whatever situation or situations that occurred, and accepting that they obviously happened, and then also the knowing that you are who you are because they happened. Mm-hmm. I feel like that kind of helps the acceptance piece, or at least I feel like it kind of did for me. Mm-hmm. Like knowing that I am the person I am today because of the trauma that I've been through and the work that I've done to heal the trauma. And while I wouldn't choose to go through those things again, I also don't think I would ever change them. The look you're giving says bullshit, but like...
No, it's not bullshit. I just think I get what you're saying. I was going to say a snide comment, but I'm not going to because it's a serious conversation.
But like, I wouldn't want to relive them, obviously.
Right.
But also, while I am still very much in the healing process, I am starting to, for the first time in my life, like where I am and who I'm becoming, and feel like I'm actually stepping into like myself and the version of me that I know that I'm supposed to be versus the version of me that I felt like I had to kind of mold to what other people wanted or thought that I needed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think that's, I'm trying to think of what I was going to piggyback on that. Hold on. So like, what do you think about, for real, a real question, what do you think about like, because people could get to the, hold on, the dog's barking.
I'm going to take a brief intermission here.
I think that there's this part of accepting yourself and where you are and evolving in your healing journey and like who you're turning into. You're also at a very interesting age because you're about to be 30, and I feel like the most catastrophic shift I had in terms of people pleasing and not giving a fuck what other people thought of me was at 30. Like, I all of a sudden was like, I don't need to just stick with the crowd or do the things that people are doing because I'm like moving with the herd. Like, it very much felt like a very big, it's not like I turned 30. 30 was it was a shit show for like a month and a half. Like, I did not handle turning 30 well. But ultimately, I was able to look back. There was like this new decade that I was stepping into, and I felt like an adult, and I felt like
you're stepping into your own.
Who I want to be, and not like what my friends are doing and what they're being, and like trying to like navigate through that. So I feel like that's a very exciting time to be in anyways. And when you look at the work that you put into mental health and healing and evolving and getting rid of the skeletons and stuff like that, I think it's really key to have the acceptance piece of like, this is where I'm at and it's okay, or this is what I went through and it's okay because it makes me, like you said. And I feel like there's so many people who, something stuck in my throat, who don't ever get there. And it like makes me kind of sad. Like they never get to the acceptance piece where it's like, it's almost like a courageous act to even begin to go into therapy. I think so many people are resistant to like trying to evolve that way, to like talk about things. Like Jeff watched this meme. It was like a Danny DeVito, like, you rip the Band-Aid off, like, and he's crying and it's like this crazy. And I was like, my God, that's like so how it feels sometimes. Like there's the flood and it's not stopping. And people are so afraid that just because it's not stopping, it's never going to stop, which is not true. Because even if I look at you, you used to be like, no, can't do it. Not doing it. Hurts too much. Paralyzed. Not doing it. Like,
Yeah.
But you've grown even beyond that into accepting things and working through things that weren't present before, because that's what happens. You're going to look back at situations of traumatic experiences. And if you've done EMDR, whatever kind of work you've done on it, down the road, you're going to see a new piece of it that you didn't see even at the time that you were working on it. And that, I think, is the beauty of healing and growing, because what I see about, use my alcoholism for an example, what I saw in the first year of getting sober versus what I see looking back now is so different. And I'm grateful for both of them. But there's always this beautiful gift of like, when I look back on an experience, I've worked on this portion, but then this other thing crops up. And it's not necessarily painful, by the way. Like, it's not necessarily some, like, break you down situation. It's just looking at it and saying, like, oh, my God, I never put that piece together with that. Like, I can't believe I never saw that before. You know how people always say, like, oh, other people can see everything and you're blind to, like, a lot of it. But I think that is one of the most beautiful experiences on a whole level about why doing the work that I do, that you do, both for yourself and like mentoring other people. Like, I think that it's that right there is the beauty of it, because you can see something down the road and say, I can't believe I never saw that. And now I'm like, yeah, bitch, there we go.
Well, I think a super important part that you said, though, too, was that you could see both sides and be grateful for both versions of yourself. And I think that it's something I'm still trying to figure out, but like the not shaming the old versions of ourselves, or the versions of ourselves that did things that we may not be proud of, and trying to, again, like the acceptance piece, but understanding that like we did what we had to do in those moments with the information we had at the time.
Well, yeah.
What? Why are you giving me that look?
No, not because I just thought of something funny, but I was pausing because I was going to let you finish your sentence. Marker in my eye to remind myself not to forget my thought, because I will.
It was just quite the look you gave me. So I was like, what did I do?
I said, well, yeah. But the version, I think that that's very important, to not shame yourself for the past versions of yourself.
And it's something I'm still trying to figure out, like accepting the parts of me that I don't like the parts of me that made decisions that I really hate out of my pain or out of my kind of like trauma responses.
But also accepting that you may never accept those versions of yourself because it was maybe not you specifically.
Right,
maybe
but
it was
in
like
general.
a shitty thing to do for real. And like all you can do is have, grace with yourself and like try to work towards forgiving yourself for doing something that ultimately wounded you even more or
Right.
whatever,
Yeah.
I'm not speaking to like a specific experience for you or me. I'm just like
No,
trying to
in
like,
general, I gotcha. Yeah.
because I think that there comes a point where sometimes you just have to accept like, and I really fucking sucked. Like, and I can say that wholeheartedly about a lot of versions of myself in the past. Like, I mean, God, what the hell was wrong with me? Like, I know, and I can look back empathetically and like with an open heart, and I can say like, oh, I was just hurting so bad, and I was doing, but then it just boils down to it was a shit thing to do. Some of the stuff I did, it was a bad choice. I made it. I can't take it back. It's done.
Right. But you learned and you grew from it. Ultimately.
Yeah, I mean, it is an evolving process, right?
Always.
I think there's a lot of stuff that, like, I look back on, but I feel like there's a lot of people in the world who are still the same, like when we were 15. Like, they behave and act and react exactly
100%.
the same. And the cattiness and the insecurities that, like, just swirl. It's so ironic to me that I can have gone so far to change myself, and people that I can reconnect with are still exactly the same person that they were 30 years ago. It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah. It's crazy.
How do you not
Change at all?
in 30 years?
Right.
That's a good topic for a show, too, because that's something that just perplexes me to no end. Like, how do you not evolve? My ex-husband is one. How do you not change anything that you do? You're just literally the exact same.
Oh, it sounds like my brother, so we could totally have a conversation about this.
I mean, it's, I feel like it's becoming more mainstream. Well, it is pretty mainstream. I think healing and yoga and meditating, it's like in Iowa and Kansas. So once it gets to mid-America, like it's pretty standard open topic conversations. But I feel like there's enough evidence out there for people to sit and look at and be like, it really isn't a good look when I talk shit about people to make myself feel better because maybe I did something shitty or that person is the mirror of me, whenever.
That's an really important piece that I feel like most people don't realize, the mirror aspect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I get triggered by a lot of people, but usually, I mean, I'm going to just preface this with, I don't see it in the moment. I usually get like blind rage. And then as I process things, because I was taught at the beginning of my journey to pause, don't react, pause. And that's been the biggest saving grace of my entire adult life, because then I'm able to be like, why am I so irked? Or why is this bugging me so bad? Like, what's there?
Why am I
that's bothering
irrationally
me?
like angry
Yeah.
over this stupid situation? What is at the root of that? I mean, that's ultimately, I think, what a lot of it boils down to is what's at the root of.
Well, yeah, and there's
so many
also
things.
some people can have same characteristics or be manipulative. Like, for instance, when somebody passive aggressively texts me and is being manipulative, I see right through it. Even in a text message, don't need to hear the voice to know what they're trying to do. It really flips me out, because I just don't know why you're attempting to play games with me. Like,
Right.
been there, done that.
Don't have time for it.
I don't have time for it, and your behavior is exactly like someone that I lived with and was married to and had a child with. So, like, I don't need anyone else in my life ever again on any planet.
Filled your quota,
that I'm walking.
done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't need anyone else to try and pull this bullshit with me, because I'm not tolerating it. And so then I have to be like, why am I still triggered? Why do I care? If somebody goes to those lengths to, like, whatever they're trying to do, like they're taking these measures that are ridiculous, like, that's a shame for them to be living, the way that they are. My sponsor's always like, I would hate to be walking around in their head all day,
Well, yeah, and those, ultimately, that says more about them than it says about you, but it's so hard to separate yourself from that.
Well, yeah. I've worked very hard, like I said, to not react. So I typically, when I'm like, it's like all in private. Like nobody would know that I was irritated because I don't give narcissistic, manipulative people that vibe.
Power, whatever.
I'm a gray rock. Shout out to Dave Reagan for showing me the narcissistic narc dude guru on YouTube who talks about the gray rock, because that was also life-changing for me, that I don't have to get caught up in the drama. And it's not just for narcissistic people. It can be like any type of drama or toxic personality type. Like if I don't react, if I'm dull and I don't react and they don't get any type of anything out of me, they're going to move on pretty fucking quick. And it has been true ever since I started implementing it. And it is one of the most amazing pieces of it. It's Richard Grandin, that's his name on YouTube. But it's one of the most incredible, like, be a gray rock. And my friend Dave used to text me, like, because when I was going through my divorce, like, be a gray rock. And I was like, what the fuck are you even talking about? He's like, dull, gray, clay, like be a rock. He's like, here, he sent me the video. So, like, I just think that there's something to be said for pausing and not reacting. Oh God, yeah. And we're all so quick to react to things based off of our own
experiences.
Shit.
Yeah.
And we're all like, oh, well, this happened and I'm going to, for instance, I do struggle very much with somebody who rubs against my value system. Like I have a really hard time letting go of things when someone's doing something and it is like actually affecting my value system. Like my husband will be like, it's because it's like going against your value system, like your core values, like beliefs. And I'm like, but still, like I can't get over this.
Can't let it go. Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, because it's literally violating every fiber that you were brought up, the values that you hold most important in your life.
Yeah.
So I think it's knowing when actually there really is no time to react. And actually you can pause and react in a way that's mature and not so you look back and cringe and hate that version of yourself down the hall anyway.
Well, it's really responding and not reacting.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean in the moment of the reaction, like not taking the bait.
Yeah.
To respond. Like react solo. Even if you have to leave someplace where you're at, like do not. I would rather peel my toenails off by myself than give someone the satisfaction of reacting and being a psychopath in front of them. Like I'm quite serious. I may look like a psycho in front of my husband and my children, but like I'm not going to give that person the satisfaction of like, yes,
having
got her,
having
got
that
her.
Power over you.
There she goes.
Yeah.
There's nobody who can take my everything that I've worked so hard. I think everyone on the planet would agree with this. Everything you work so hard to grow, to evolve, to become, to feel, to lean into, like all of it. Nobody can pull that out from under me as fast as my parents, because I will retort to a 10-year-old temper tantrum 2 seconds flat. My mom has to say 2 words, and I will be, I'm off.
Instantly back.
Like, I've had my husband will be like, what's happening? I'm like, stay out of this.
Got this.
Because who triggers you more? Your parents, they know you in and out. And my parents aren't toxic and doing it to be mean, but my mom will do something and it just immediately I'm like reactive. I'm everything I've done and worked for, there's nothing. I'm instantly 10 years old, freaking the F out in my bedroom, slamming the door and locking it. Like that's...
Well, I feel like the whole parent thing is that could be an entirely other like episode because there's so much that goes into that. Like I could go.
My parents still love me for all the shit that I do too. So
yeah, but it's so layered. Like with parents, it's just so layered. I will go down a rabbit hole. It actually is
another episode to talk about. But my point being, like, I can be this evolved professional coach like work with people, mentor women, help people get sober, do all these like wonderful, incredible things. And the second my mom says, do you want this? I bought it. It's too big for me. I'm like, fuck everything that I ever am and do. And I'm on, her and I are in an argument.
Yeah.
Not actually like the fist fight, but like we're actually like, I'll be like, what? Thanks, Mom. And I get into, what's your attitude for? I mean, it's literally like this, you know, and it's so funny because I can be both at the same time. I don't do that very often, obviously. There's not a whole lot. It doesn't happen frequently in my family, but it's funny to me because I am both my version I am today presently, and then also I can very easily be awoken to be a 10-year-old.
Well, it's the duality. And I think it's also a big common misconception about healing is that there's a finish line. There is no finish line. You could be 10, 20, 30 years into your healing journey, and it's a, like you said earlier, it's an evolving process.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the easiest example if you are just beginning like out to like look at growth and development and healing. Like I think the easiest thing I can give is like getting sober, right? A lot of people go to 12-step programs to learn how to not use the substance as frequently as they're using it, right? Like I went to AA to like learn how to drink, only that's not what happened. I think it's, but when you accept the part of this is never not going to be something that I'm dealing with.
Part of you,
This is always going to be a situation, and in any given moment, if I don't have my armor on and my guard up, like I could have a drink, and then all that physical compulsion comes back, and the addiction piece plays into it. But like, it's never not going to be a part of my daily existence. The fact that I'm a recovering alcoholic and that I cannot drink. And I don't need to explain that or shout it from the rooftops, but like there was a point where I was like, when I get like 5 years, I'm like just gonna stop going to meetings and stuff because like I'll have 5 years and that's like 5 years.
Yeah,
so I'm obviously not gonna drink again.
Right, like you think you're in the clear, but you're not.
Never. There's no graduation. I don't get like same thing with healing the trauma and the generational trauma and all the things. You don't get like a certificate that says X, Y, and Z. Here's your Reiki certified and
you're
you healed
graduated
this.
from healing.
Because
it doesn't exist.
No, precisely like I said earlier. Like I can look back at something from 2012 and like it's got a whole different light to it than it did in the moment then while I was like having all this like epiphany growth, like awareness and acceptance. Like I look back and I'm like, how did I not see one piece of that? Or how could I have missed this one little portion? Well, because my brain wasn't ready for me to see it yet. So you got to remember, we as humans only use 5% of our brains.
Something like that.
So you have stuff that's filed so far back there that, like, as you clear out the clutter forever, something might pop up that
you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Didn't know that was there.
Or brings like an oh shit, like laugh, like a good moment. Like I've come so far, like now I can see this 360 in this one maybe interaction, whatever it is, and be like, oh fuck, like that's where it comes from. Yeah, all of a sudden it just like clicks for you. So I feel like my so-called healing, my so-called life, Jordan Catalano, Jake, whatever.
By the way, that's been randomly popping up on my Hulu. So
yeah, because it's a good show.
Well, yeah, I've watched it. I'm just saying, I don't know why it's popping up on my Hulu now.
I think because they just put it on there.
I think
like it was not
the
on
internet
before.
knows
Yeah,
that's why we.
Yes, obviously. But I think that knowing when to forgive yourself is key. Knowing when to just let go is key, which lots of people struggle with. And again, it could be another episode because sometimes I have to let go of things like
multiple times.
I have to physically move my body and throw it to the universe because I cannot let go. I will claw things and hold on to things that are unnecessary. So, like, Jen taught me forever ago, like, if you can't let go, then throw
physically,
it. And it's made an impact on me there's a tangible way to, like, instead of just saying, because people are like, what is letting go? Well, fucking get the energy out of your body, bro. Go for a walk. Throw something in the air, like do some push-ups, whatever. Yeah. But I think that forgiveness, acceptance, and processing in whatever capacity you can in that moment, especially if you're just getting started. You do not need to look at healing if you're just getting started to work on yourself like, I've got to do X, Y, and Z and make a list of all these things that bothered you and this and that. Like, you can literally have so much impact on your soul just from one teeny tiny little nugget of something that you choose to look at and hold yourself accountable for and take responsibility for. It literally has the ripple effect throughout the rest of your life.
Well, and the healing journey is different for everyone. So you cannot look at all of the people on Instagram or whatever who are posting about their healing journeys and think that you are supposed, like, your journey is supposed to look like that, because it's not. It's different for everyone.
Well, don't compare yourself to anybody. That's number one.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. You cannot be looking around at what other people are doing, because you'll never grow as a person.
Yeah. And like, what works for one person isn't going to necessarily work for the next. Right.
People think, yeah, whatever, another episode, because we're getting lengthy here. Chitty chat.
There are probably a million episodes, obviously, we could do on this specific topic.
Yeah, but that's why we did the show. Like,
yes.
This is why we decided to talk about this, because it is something that I think is continual, and it never stops happening, and you never, like, move beyond it, because it's part of who you are, but also you're still doing stuff to shift different energies within you and heal different parts.
Well, yeah, and
Can you say healing one more time? I'm actually going to throat punch you, because you know how I feel about that word.
I wasn't. Thank you very much.
I almost interrupted and said we said healing probably 5,000 times in this episode, and she knows I can't. Like, after a certain point, I'm like, and I can't take the word. It's like trauma too. I have a problem with that word. If I overuse it, I'm like, why did I say trauma so many times in that sentence?
Oh my God! It's when I'm like going through like our videos or whatever, and I hear myself say like 100 times in a row, I literally want to punch myself in the face. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if I hear
Today
myself
you're
say
gonna
like
hear yourself
one more
say
time,
healing 5 million
and
times, and you're going to
want to
punch yourself in the face. However, we did put it in the show. I didn't actually want to. It's a little factoid. I didn't want to put healing in our show because I don't like the word, because I think it gives people the wrong impression that it's like a surgery that you're going to like get stitches and be done with it. And so I think the word in of itself confuses people as to what it is to heal your soul and your growth. Oh, we got these. We should say
our little permanent bracelets.
Yeah, I just saw yours, and your amethyst is like shining in the light, kind of. So mine's a smoky quartz, but these are permanent. They never come off. They're so cool.
They are. I'm like obsessed with it.
Yeah, me too. And normally I don't like, because I think I have like man fat hands,
God,
but like,
don't.
and my wrists are like 4, 3, 5, 4. But like,
not accurate.
This actually, I don't mind the dainty. Normally I would steer away from like a dainty chain.
No, I love it.
But I like it a lot.
Like, actually,
I'm super pumped that we got it, actually,
I know, me too.
at the PTA event.
Good life decisions.
Yeah, these are good, healing, healthy decisions.
Although I still really want to know what that drink was that I drank, because that was weird.
It had to have alcohol in it.
There
It
was
said
0
cocktails.
alcohol, and it was blue and fizzy. And not good.
If it was not good, it was probably some weird Tanqueray or something.
I don't
weird
know
in
what it was. It was weird. Anyways,
you guys have a great week, and we'll be back next week. We're probably going to touch on, when we go through this lengthy, rambled on ending here, we'll probably find something to pull out to talk about the following week. But don't forget, head over to our website, mysocalledhealing.com. Send us a voicemail on there.
Yes.
Or you can send us a message like chitty chat, and we can find out what you want to hear more about, even if it's something to dive in deeper of what we just touched base on. So
definitely let us know.
We want to hear from you. And those of you that joined the group already, I swear, please don't jump out. We're coming in hot this week. I've had a little bit of resistance, so we're coming in.
And also, while you're at it, you might as well just go to our YouTube and subscribe, because
Yeah,
just do all the things.
do it all. It's all on the website, right? Every place.
Everything should be. It's all in the show notes, and it should all be on the website.
All right, peace out.
Bye.
Bye. Dear dollar, I hate your stinking guts. You are the mud between my feet. Basically put favorite movie.